llega el turno de, no sé si el contenido estelar, no quiero aminorar la conversación, ni mucho menos mostrar bandas nuevas del circuito local latinoamericano, pero hemos tenido una buena seguidilla de entrevistados, agradecer a la gente de Monkey Producciones por la gestión,
Sí.
y bueno, también la oportunidad de conversar con un tipo que tú sigues desde sus inicios, gran conversa que vamos a disfrutar con Jeremy de Touché, Amoré.
Así es, tuvimos la oportunidad de tener una conversación previo al show de ellos acá en Santiago, así que nada, pues los quiero dejar con esa entrevista que pudimos hacer junto a Joaquín, un gran tipo Jeremy, así que para todos ustedes, La Más Religión, Jeremy Bolm de Touché Amoré.
Hola a todos, aquí Matías de La Más Religión, estamos junto a Jeremy Bolm de Touché Amoré. Jeremy, it's great to have you here.
It's an honor. Nice to
Yeah,
be
finally in Chile. Are you excited to be
I am.
in Chile for the first time?
Yeah, this tour, I mean, in general, has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
You know, you check the comments back.
It's
for
crazy.
Forever.
It's forever.
The amount of come to Chile, come
Yeah.
to Colombia, come to Sao Paulo. I mean, we've been to Sao Paulo
Yeah,
one
I know.
time, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is one of the most anticipated shows,
Yeah.
I think, of our band's career.
Yeah, a lot of people from Chile. I know a couple of them that have traveled to Brazil to see your show, but yeah, every time they post like a new announcement of a band, everybody's like Touché, and then finally it's gonna happen, and it's so great to have you here in this point of your career. So we're very excited about that. I was gonna ask you about touring. How is touring now? Like after COVID, how's it been like?
Well, the first year and a half was a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a lot of, no one really knew the best ways to go about it.
Right.
And it feels like that's leveled out now. It
Yeah.
seems kind of back to normal, aside from the only thing, well, depends how depressing you want me to get. If you want me to get depressing, I can talk
Sure.
about how it's a lot harder to make money these days because there's a lot more things that are happening that make it harder for artists. That I feel a lot of people used COVID as an excuse
Right.
to then take more money out of artists' pockets. But let's keep it. Let's keep this positive.
I mean, it's good that you say that because here in Chile, and especially in Latin America, we have this like illusion that U.S. bands they like do it all and they have all the money and it's touring is like
yeah.
just glamour and having fun and it's not. It's hard. It's tricky and it's a lot of work and you get really tired. So yeah, it's good that you say that because sometimes we don't get that information from the bands that we love. So
For sure.
yeah, it's really interesting to have that. I want to ask you what was like. Do you have any great experience touring with the band, like supporting a band or headlining band, or what's your best experience touring with the band? Like you can remember.
Wow.
Like everything was smooth, the crew was getting along.
Well, I'll talk about one in particular that because we didn't know it, we were still pretty young in the band.
Mm-hmm.
We had the opportunity to open for like Rise Against
Wow.
in Europe, which was in like arenas, like
Wow.
huge, like 18,000 people.
Oh my God.
And we were like, we didn't know. We were still figuring out how to be.
What album cycle? Like
This would have been I think just before Survive By.
okay.
And I could be wrong, but I think it was around to Survive By. And, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know anything.
Right.
And those guys were so kind to us and took such kind care of us. It was amazing to have insane catering every single
Yeah,
day.
right?
You know,
It's a different experience, yeah.
It was just like, we didn't know,
Yeah.
And it also, I think that was at the start of a time where it made us realize that we had to get good at being a live band,
Right.
as opposed to being a band that only that relies on the audience participation.
Exactly.
Because you could watch footage of hardcore bands that are great, but is that footage great because the audience
Right.
is making it look awesome?
100%.
Or is the band really good, you
Right.
know? And when you watch a band that has both, that they can perform really
Right.
well, have the energy, sound good,
Right.
play well, and also, it's like you have to
Right.
be good at both. Like you look at a band, Turnstile, Speed, bands like this. Like
Right.
the reason they're so good is because
They can
have
do
both.
it. Yeah, they have both. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Yeah, it's very interesting because it's hard to get. It's good that you realize that, like, oh, we need to work on this because if there's a barricade and you have to do different stuff to get the. I mean, maybe the track list, the set list, or whatever, it has to change, and so
Yes.
yeah, that's
It's-
cool.
Yeah, when I see new bands that are hyped up and getting a lot of attention, for me as an older person, I'm always like, okay,
Yeah,
they're doing it good. Let's see what happens when they get on the big stage with the barrier. I want to see how
Yeah.
they adapt, and then that'll be the next challenge to see where they go from there.
right.
You know?
I was watching Helmet the other day, and I thought of that. Like, they play like it's insane how they play, and they don't do much. Like, they don't move that much, but the songs and the way that they play it, it's enough so you can like. Because
Yeah.
we're older. I'm 40, so I don't want to be in the pit. I just want to groove
Yeah.
and just get the feeling of it and enjoy the song. So
Yeah.
it's so cool to get to that point in
Yeah, if
musician's
you're not
career.
moving around, make sure you're playing really well.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's Helmet. It sounds
Yeah.
like it's playing really well.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to ask you about Ross Robinson and how did you get to work with him? Not specifically, but where was the idea ignited? Like, it was like a record that you have in common with everybody in the band, or what?
So, I mean, I grew up on all of his records for the most part,
course.
like Korn and Sepultura and all of that stuff I loved.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it I still do. And of course, then Glassjaw at the drive-in.
At the drive-in, yeah.
All of that stuff. So when the band kind of started to get more momentum, he was always in the back of my mind where I'm like, I know that this would make so much sense, but I am terrified
Yeah.
to work with this man. And we were trying to figure out who was going to do our next record at the time. This is before we did Lament.
Yeah.
And our manager at the time, he used to manage at the drive-in.
Oh, okay.
So he had a connection.
Yeah.
And he was the first person to come to me and be like, what do you think about working with Ross Robinson? And I said, I know that it would be great, but I am genuinely terrified.
Right.
And we ended up, taking a leap, and it ended up being very fruitful because we obviously did the last one with him
Right,
too. So
yeah.
we went back to him. And Ross Robinson will be the first person to make a joke that he doesn't get a lot of repeat business.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we got him twice.
Yeah, he's worked with a lot of bands, but
He makes you work.
yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of interviews, and I've seen a lot of. I even seen the footage when he was recording Jonathan from
Mm-hmm.
Korn, and he was very into the process with, especially for vocals. I imagine that it was.
Vocalists and drummers.
Yeah, that's
are the
like-
two that he really puts us through the ringer. Yeah.
I always thought, like, I love the Blood Brothers album that he did.
Yeah, Burn Piano Island.
Yeah.
So good.
So that's like an album that you all guys like.
It's funny, each one of us, I think, have different
Right.
albums that we like. Because a lot of my guys were not really into metal when they were younger. So a lot of them, like Blood Brothers at the Drive-In, the Cure album. that he
Yeah,
did
it's
is
great.
incredible.
The 2004, I think. Yeah. It's
So I
great.
think that's more of their frame of reference.
Yeah.
Whereas I was into Korn.
Yeah.
Sepultura and that first Limp Bizkit record, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he even did like a Vanilla Ice
He did.
new
I
metal
talked to him
album.
I brought that up to him.
Oh right, I hear you. Your podcast.
I
Yeah,
brought it up to
yeah.
him. I was like, he was like, that was the most punk rock thing I ever did. I was like, all right.
It's great. It's great. And you have the same feeling with like somebody like Steve Albini that's
Yeah.
no longer with us. It's like
Yeah. I wish I had a chance to have worked with him, but
Right.
I'm blessed to have had an entire discography that he's done to, enjoy
Yeah.
the rest of my life. So.
yeah, it's amazing. What would you think? What would you want it to be your legacy as a band? Like, have you seen newer bands influenced by your music, by the music that your band makes?
I mean, I assume yes. I don't often hear a band and think like, oh, they definitely like us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm always flattered when I find out that someone in a band that I don't expect grew up listening to us or something like that. we played a festival. We played Outbreak Fest last year with Mind Force, and the drummer of Mind Force talked to me after, and he was like, "Yo, I used to see you guys at the college," and I was like, "Wow, I never would have expected."
Right.
I was like flattered.
Right.
He's like, "We should do some shows together." But yeah, as far as legacy though, I don't know. It's already been. We're coming. Before we know it, it's going to be 20 years, which is.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I mean, that'll be 2028. But yeah, I just like to think that we always, stayed true to who we've always been, and kind of kept our focus on the music that we make. And,
Right.
I don't think we ever go into any album trying to become more commercial or
Right.
anything like that. I mean, I think there's been a lot more melody in our music, but I think that's just something that has just come naturally. I
Right.
think if you listen to our first record through
Yeah.
our latest one, it sounds like just a
Yeah,
a
melodies
way to
are-
be-
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, I just like to hope that
Maybe in the way that you guys do things, like Nick's involved in the artwork, and
Yeah.
you are like very into like reading and poetry, and
yeah.
you having a label. Maybe that's things that I've seen that people are inspired by about Touché.
And that's something that, I mean, just by default, like, we could look at a band like Converge, and
Right.
Converge to us is like,
Right.
we used to always make jokes about making decisions based on if Converge would do it.
Right.
Where it was
So
like,
you're carrying Converge's legacy. that's
where
important.
We
We need
joked,
that.
we're like, is it lame to have a backdrop? We're like, Converge has a backdrop.
done.
Like, is it lame to have a bass drum design? Well, Converge has a bass drum design. I guess
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
And but I mean, like, yeah, like having someone in house to do the artwork. We're very blessed to have Nick.
Yeah.
They have Jake.
Yeah.
Label side.
Yeah.
They have a label that it's like I have Secret Voice. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that we have in common with them that we
Yeah.
and we admire them so much.
Well, you mentioned Secret Voice. Tell me a little bit about it. I've seen some of your latest releases from Heavenly Blue and Infant Island. The most well-known is the Seitia. We say here Saetia.
Oh, yeah,
But
Seitia,
Seitia,
yeah,
the
Seitia,
Seitia, the collection, the whole
Yeah, that was such an
anthology.
They just played here, right?
Yeah.
So cool.
Converge was in the same room
Oh, very
a
cool.
couple of months ago.
It was the Seisha show with Unbroken.
Yeah.
I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah, it was great. They were
What a combo.
Their mind was blown by the reception here. They didn't
Yeah.
expect that at all.
So
And it's full, and they were like, "What?"
So
Like
cool.
everybody cheering, like, "Stage, stage." They
So
were like,
cool.
"Yeah, it was amazing." Yeah, you have a lot to do with that because you brought those recordings back to like collections,
Yeah.
collectors, and so I think it's very important.
Yeah,
So-
I got a moment of being very bold, and I just wrote a message to Billy on Facebook.
Because you wanted it. You
And I
wanted,
said- yeah, I was like, I'm sure you've been asked this so many times, but if you ever wanted to put out this discography, I would be honored to do it. And I've heard him say in interviews that I just caught him on the right day.
that's great.
And, thankfully, a friendship started, and it's all been great since then.
Yeah, and about I was gonna ask you about that compilation that you did for the
Yeah, the Balladeers.
The Balladeers,
Yeah.
pretty fine. It's very interesting to me that you put all these bands from around the world in screamo or scream ish. Frail Body, Coma Regalia, Gillian Carter, Joliet from Mexico. We're good
Yeah.
friends of them.
They're great.
Seda, Zenza, and even Jerome's Dream. So.
Yeah.
What's the plan with the label now? I seen you did the Blind Girls.
Yeah, great band from Australia.
That's amazing.
They're so good.
So good.
Right now, I mean, I went from being a label that put out like one record every other year. Like I
Right.
wasn't very active with it. I like to be sparse with it in a way that when I did announce something, it seemed like a little
Right.
like, oh wow, he's putting something new out. Like, because I had a lot of luck with that in the beginning with bands like Single Mothers and Gouge Away and Drug Church and bands like this. So this last 2 years, I put out way more than I normally have. So
Right.
I think the plan right now is I'm gonna just kind of chill off a little bit.
Yeah.
Let it sort of relax, and then I'll think about something going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. So are you working on something else besides music
I have a
or?
podcast that keeps
Yeah.
me the most busy, I think. Yeah.
It's very good. You
Oh,
should
thank
all
you.
check it out.
Yeah, I do a show called The First Ever Podcast.
Yeah.
And it's this summer it'll be 5 years of doing that. 200, almost at 250 episodes, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
I've been doing it every week since I think like I started the week after we stopped recording Lament.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it was it's a labor of love, but I enjoy doing it. I mean, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Interviewing people's nice. You know, it's like it's fun
Yeah,
to do it.
especially when you can get into a conversation that it's. I think that's one of the great things about your podcast, that sometimes you speak with friends, with colleagues, and the conversation is so much different than when you hear a journalist doing the interview. So to me it's super refreshing. I really recommend it to everybody who's watching this, and
Thank you.
very, very good. You're a very good conversationalist.
Oh, I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
man.
I appreciate that. It's funny now that I'm back in dating life, having to date again. It's interesting because I find myself.
Oh, right, you
on
have
da- on
topics,
dates,
yeah.
On dates, being like, man, I hope I don't come off like a podcast host where I'm just constantly asking you questions.
But that's great. Like, people feel great about it. It's like you're interested in me, like you're
Like
asking.
any moment of silence during a date, I'm like,
You know how to fill it,
I'm
right?
like, yeah, oh, no, I gotta fill the space.
That's nice, man. All right. I was gonna ask you about. I don't want to put you in a spot, but some albums or bands that you're listening currently, or that you would like to recommend to Touché fans. Like,
Sure.
I'm interested in that.
Let me think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. See, it's a little. Usually, this question's really hard because
Yeah, I know.
but I'm often doing like. I mean, I'm excited about the new Turnstile album coming. I think we all are. That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
The singles they've put out have been great so far. There's a band called Hotline TNT that I really like. They have a
Okay.
new album coming. The singles that they've put out so far, especially a song called Julia's War, is incredible. I really like the band Greek Death. They're on Death
Yeah, I
Wish.
love them.
They're the singles that they've put out for this new record, and I've been lucky enough to hear the new record because I just interviewed a member of that band. That'll be out soon.
It's different from the last record. From the.
This one
Greek
feels like
Death.
an extension of the last EP.
Oh, okay.
Which is really, really good. So yeah, the Greek Death record.
Yeah, I was
think
listening
is-
to Dixieland. Is the first one?
Yeah, that's early.
Yeah,
right,
it's
right,
early.
right.
Yeah, great band. I
Yeah,
love it.
this new one is excellent.
Right.
This is Jeremy Bolm. You're watching La Mala Religión.